All right, shalom, family. And once again, praise Yah for allowing us to be able to take part in these, holy days that He's given unto us. Praise Yah for, His righteousness and allowing us to know these things. Because at the end of the day, us doing these things, we are showing our obedience unto Him. And for us showing our obedience, you know, uh, 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 He sees that we are trying, even though we're going through certain things in our lives. And it is a blessing for us to know these things, but it is also a blessing to be able to do these things before Him. Tonight's sermon is called A Profitable Servant. And we're going to go ahead and start in Deuteronomy chapter 10. And we're going to read verse 1 through 22. We're going to start in Deuteronomy chapter 10, and we're going to start from verse 1 to 22. Throughout our lives, we have gained some knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, but without the fear of Yahweh, we truly are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. We first must understand who we are supposed to serve. When you look up that word servant, it's a person in the service of another. Even that word service, there are actions that we are supposed to do. A profitable servant of Yahweh must always accept the whole truth of a matter, not being a respecter of persons. What we think and what we feel is an abomination unto Yahweh. Time is precious. Sometimes we don't use our time wisely. And a profitable servant must sacrifice time for Yahweh, for spiritual growth, especially to accomplish the will of Yahweh. All right, my brother.
Deuteronomy 10, verse 1. At that time Yahweh said unto me, Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and come up unto me into the mount, and make thee an ark of wood. And I will write on the tables the words that were in the first tables that thou breakest, and thou shalt put them in the ark.
Now, if the words that Yahweh wrote before, and we know further back, Moshe broke those tables going down to talk to our ancestors because of what they were doing. And if the words of Yahweh were not important, then why would he have Moshe make stones again that he can actually put his words back again so we can receive those words from him? And you have many people out there that's continually saying that the law is nailed to the cross, but yet still the importance right here, Yahweh showing you that he's putting his words on stone again for us to receive. Go ahead, my brother.
And I made an ark of shittim wood, and hewed 2 tables of stone like unto the first, and went up into the mount, having the 2 tables in my hand. And he wrote on the tables according to the first writings, the 10 commandments which Yahweh spake unto you in the mount out of the midst of the fire, in the day of the assembly, and Yahweh gave them unto me. And I turned myself and came down from the mount, and put the tables in the ark which I had made, and there they be as Yahweh commanded me. And the children of Israel took their journey from Beroth of the children of Yaakan to Mosera. There Aaron died, and there he was buried. And Eleazar his son ministered in the priest's office in his stead. From thence they journeyed unto Golgotha, and from Golgotha to Jotbath, a land of rivers of water. At that time Yahweh separated the tribes of Levi to bear the ark of the covenant of Yahweh, and stand before Yahweh to minister unto him, and to bless in his name unto this day. Wherefore Levi hath no part nor inheritance with his brethren. Yahweh is his inheritance, according to Yahweh, thy Elohim promised him. And I stayed in the mount according to the first time 40 days and 40 nights. And Yahweh hearkened unto me at that time also, and Yahweh would not destroy thee. And Yahweh said unto me, Arise, take thy journey before the people, that they may go in and possess the land, which I had swear unto their fathers to give unto them. And now, Israel, what doth Yahweh thy Elohim require of thee, but to fear Yahweh thy Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahweh thy Elohim, with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
And that's the thing that, you know, a lot of people out there don't have. They don't have that fear of Yahweh. If people knew what we, praise Yah, have been allowed to know, as far as the coming of Yeshua and the destruction that's coming, a lot more, I would hope a lot more people, Yahweh would, you know, would turn unto Yahweh and do the things that's necessary so they can have salvation. But you have people out there that believe that, you know, they're going off into heaven, and that's the place that they're going to be, that they're not going to even go through the trials and tribulations that's going to take place on this earth. So that fear that we supposed to have, that's the beginning of knowledge. There's so many other things that we know now, but yet still, if we don't have that fear, then where's that beginning of knowledge? Go ahead, my brother.
Deuteronomy 10, verse 13. To keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. Behold, the heavens and the heavens of heavens is Yahweh's thy Elohim. The earth is also with all that therein is. Only Yahweh had a delight in thy fathers to love them, and he chose their seed after them, even you above all people, as it is this day. Circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. For Yahweh your Elohim is Elohim of Elohim, and sovereign of sovereigns, a great El, a mighty and terrible, which regardeth not person, nor taketh reward. He doth execute the judgment of the fatherless and the widow, and loveth the stranger, and giveth him food and raiment.
And that's it. You know, to be a profitable servant, that's one of the main things that we need to understand, is who we serve. And by understanding that, you know, we hear people out there saying that, oh, that terrible God. But yet, Yahweh does his terribleness in his righteousness. There's wickedness that's on the earth that needs to stop. There's judgment. So as far as his judgment, if that's what people out there is considering, that his judgment is terrible, then, you know, a lot of people is fed up of all the unrighteousness that they see out there on the earth, especially dealing with the government and how things are being done. And you see out there now a lot of people on the streets against one another, having race riots, and, you know, not knowing if they knew the commandments, then they will have a lot more understanding of how we are supposed to conduct ourselves with one another. But there's a reason why Yahweh has a terrible side. If there was righteousness all over the earth, then why would Yahweh need to have a terrible side? Why would he show a terrible side? There wouldn't be no need for no terrible side of Yahweh. But righteousness is all over the whole earth. So for us to be a profitable servant, the first thing we have to understand is who we serve. Go ahead, brother.
Deuteronomy 10, verse 19. Love ye therefore the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear Yahweh thy Elohim, him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave, and swear by his name. He is thy praise, and he is thy Elohim, that hath done for thee these great and terrible things which thine eyes have seen. Thy fathers went down into Egypt with 70 persons, and now Yahweh thy Elohim hath made thee as the stars of heaven, more for multitude.
All right, we're going to go ahead and turn to Genesis chapter 7, and we're going to read verse 1 through 24. Genesis chapter 7, and we're going to read verse 1 through 24. And when we read verse 19, it says, Love you therefore the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. But you have people out there that's other Israelites that's continually bashing folks out there, cursing at folks, and they're not entreating the word how the word's supposed to be entreated. So how, seeing these things that's written, can you have any kind of fear for Yahweh? And we know that we're supposed to entreat the word. There's a way that we're supposed to entreat the word. But you have people out there that you can see they have no fear. If they had fear, they wouldn't be doing the things that they're doing. That's why I said it's to be a profitable servant, you have to understand who is it that you're serving. Go ahead, brother.
Genesis chapter 7, verse 1. And Yahweh said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark. For thee I have seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by 7, the male and his female, and of every beast that are not clean by 2, the male and his female. Of fowls also of the air by 7, the male and the female, to keep seed alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living substance that I have made will I destroy from the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that Yahweh commanded him.
You see, again, we have another servant. Noah did according to all that Yahweh commanded him. Just as Moshe. Imagine you being told that you're not going to live anymore, that you're not going to go further into the land. But guess what? Even though being told that, Moshe still did what he was supposed to do. How many of us could have actually been told that, knowing that the land was the place where our ancestors were going to go, but yet still you're not even going to be placed. You're not going to go there. And this is what Yahweh is telling you. But yet still you continue to do what you got to do. Being obedient. And that's what we have to understand. And I want to read something real quick. What I have here is 1 Samuel chapter 15 verse 22, and it says, And Samuel said, Yahweh has great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of Yahweh. Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. So obedience is precious. Obedience is very precious. So, having Noah doing what he was doing, he did what he was commanded. And that's the thing that we have to understand, that who we serve, that there are commandments. There are ways that we're supposed to live. There are ways that we're supposed to conduct ourselves. And that's part of being, again, a profitable servant. Go ahead, my brother. Verse 7.
Verse 6.
Verse 6.
And Yahweh was 600 years old when the flood of water was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him into the ark because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls and of everything that creepeth upon the earth. There went in two and two unto Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as Elohim had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven opened. And the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah, and Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons, with them into the ark.
And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because a lot of people don't understand that there were only 8 people that Yahweh saved in the first judgment. Only 8 people. And I'm sure a lot of people at that time felt what they were doing was right. But only 8 people. Yahweh found Noah righteous and allowed his wife, his 3 sons, and his 3 wives. Only 8 people. So Yahweh not only, showed, yes, okay, his terribleness, but continually evil was in the hearts of men, and only Noah he found that was righteous out of all the people that was on this earth. So seeing that situation right there, that should bring fear into everybody's heart, to understand that Yahweh is not playing. Okay, this last judgment, yeah, a lot more people is gonna be able to come out of it, but yet still there is gonna be a judgment. So we need to have that fear and understand who we are serving. Go ahead, my brother.
I was just gonna say, even with the case of Noah, it also shows that you have to be able to stand strong in your servitude, even when the whole world is against you.
Yes.
Like you said, there's only 8 souls, so 8 people versus how many hundreds of thousands of people.
Exactly.
Back at that time, but he stood firm in the servitude that was given to him.
I mean, Noah was 600 and something years old. So imagine how many people was being born and growing up and all that. 600 and something years. It was a lot of people, So it just goes to show you that, Yahweh is not playing. We have to do what we're supposed to do. Us learning what we're learning, it's not just for us to learn, but we're going to get further into that. Go ahead, my brother.
Genesis 7:14. They and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went in unto Noah into the ark, 2 by 2, of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female, of all flesh, as Elohim had commanded him, and Yahweh shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and buried up the ark, and it was lifted up above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heavens were covered.
Imagine that. All the high hills, everything was covered. You know, a lot of times, we read. I don't know if, I know I do when it comes down to reading. You know, we try to imagine what's going on. You know, not just read to read, but imagine what's going on. Take the time to read. Take the time to understand what's going on and why it's going on. Yahweh didn't just put the flood on the earth for no reason. There's many unrighteous things that were going on. Yahweh is not, and you have, I mean, people talking about the Lord is not angry. Yahweh is still angry right now. His judgment is gonna come. But right here we can see how angry he was when he wiped off almost every living thing, save whatever he commanded Noah to have on the ark, and only 8 people. 8 people. Go ahead, brother.
Verse 20. 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beasts and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man.
Anything that was not on that ark died. Go ahead, brother.
All in whose nostrils was the breath of life, of all that was in the dry land died, and every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, the creeping things, and the fowl of the heavens, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and go to Psalms 24, and we're gonna read verse 1 to 10. Psalms 24, verse 1 through 10. And you know, the reason why I wanted to touch on that is because, you know, I know we have so many things that we have on our plate in life. And one of the things that we need to consider, if not every week, especially now, the judgment that's going to be placed on this earth. The reward of the wicked is not going to be pretty. And really and truly, we see different things that's being talked about with Russia, with China, with Korea, with America. And you know, we got to understand that these things here, even though we may have things on our own plate, we got to watch. Because none of us have ever been through you know, certain, well, I know we have a military brother right here, you know? But you know, I know a lot of us, majority of us haven't been through war. We haven't heard the destruction that a bomb can cause. And these things are reality. Even though we have different things that we want to do, Yahweh has his plans also. So no matter how much we think, you know, we want to grow and advance and do certain things in this land, imagine working towards something that has no profit. This is our best profit right here. Learning what we're learning from Yahweh and doing what we need to do to show Yahweh our obedience, that's the best thing that we can do right now. Because at the end of the day, things is going to change. The governmental system is going to change. So for us to be profitable servants, we have to keep in mind that the destruction is coming. We need to store our treasures up in heaven. Do what we need to do that Yahweh can be glorified. Okay, at the end of the day, we might have things, like I said before, we have things that we want to do and get accomplished. But what is more important than accomplishing being able to be in that new kingdom? It's coming. Without a doubt, it's coming. All right, so Psalms 24, verse 1 through 10.
The earth is Yahweh's, and the fullness thereof, the world, and they that dwell therein. For he hath founded it upon the seas, and established it upon the floods. Who shall ascend into the hills of Yahweh? Or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfulness.
He that hath a clean hands and a pure heart, who hath not lifted up his soul unto vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. There's a way how Yahweh wants us to come before him. It's not just us understanding or knowing who we are supposed to serve, but there's a way we're supposed to come before Yahweh. I know we're not perfect, but then, we can't use that as an excuse. You have people out there continuously using that as an excuse. Oh, I'm not perfect, so they feel that they can justify what they're doing, by using those words. At the end of the day, Yahweh knows what we are capable of. So he expects us to come before, even when our ancestors will have to wash their clothes, wash themselves off to come before Yahweh to present themselves. And that's what we're supposed to do also. So there's a way that we're supposed to present ourselves before Yahweh. As profitable servants, we need to know who we are serving and how we are supposed to conduct ourselves coming before Yahweh. Go ahead, my brother.
Psalms 24, verse 5. He shall receive the blessings from Yahweh, and the righteousness from the Elohim of his salvation. This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Yaakov Selah. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? Yahweh, strong and mighty, Yahweh, mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the kings of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? Yahweh of hosts. He is the King of glory. Selah.
See, that's our hope right there. I mean, that's our hope right there. There's no other. Knowing what we know not right now, we could have been out there still in the dark, as the majority of this world is. We could still be out there in this dark, and praise Yah for allowing our eyes to be open, and to look where we are right now. We're taking part in this new moon. Before we didn't know about these things. It's Yahweh allowed us to know these things. And us being here, we're showing our obedience unto him. And that's what Yahweh wants. We're going to go to Isaiah chapter 1. And we're going to start at verse 16 through 31. Isaiah chapter 1. And we're going to start from verse 16.
Verse 16. Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes. Cease to do evil.
How could there be no commandments? How could there be no law for there to be good or evil? How could you make a difference between good or evil without there being law? How can you make a difference between unrighteousness and righteousness if there's no law, if there's no commandments, if there's no grounds on which judgment is supposed to be placed. Again, Yahweh wants us to come to conduct ourselves and come before Him in a certain way. Go ahead, my brother.
Learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed, judge the fatherless, plead for the widow.
And how do we learn how to do well? Yahweh said that. His righteousness is there for us to understand how we are supposed to do well. We didn't know that before, but now we know, and we're going to be held accountable for knowing what well-doing is. So as far as us being able to, take part in these things, understand something, that we can be blotted out of the book of life. If we don't do what we're supposed to do, we can be blotted out of the book of life. This word that we're receiving, again, is not just for us to receive, but also Yah's will to teach, to allow people to understand that, what they're doing, that they're getting themselves much further into that pit, much further into darkness. And we have an opportunity to allow people, Yah's will, to know what's coming, what's about to take place, and how we're supposed to serve Him. Go ahead, my brother.
Come now, and let us reason together, saith Yahweh. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red as crimson, they shall be as wool. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land.
Again, if you be willing and obedient, we have to be willing. Knowing the truth is one thing, but then walking into it is a different thing. We can know many things and not do what we're supposed to do. But praise Yah for allowing us another day, another breath of life, to be able to understand these things and to do what we're supposed to do. And be willing. We have to be willing. I can see us right here, and we're able. We're, praise Yah, we're not sick. We're breathing. We have all limbs, and we're able to do these things. Yahweh has put it before our eyes, so we have to be willing. Go ahead, brother.
But if ye refuse and rebel, ye shall be devoured with the sword.
This is how Yahweh starts his terrible actions. When we refuse and rebel, that's when he starts his judgment. When we refuse, when we rebel against his commandments and his sayings. Go ahead, brother.
Ye shall be devoured with the sword, for the mouth of Yahweh has spoken it. How is the faithful city become a harlot? It was full of judgment, righteousness lodged in it, but now murderers. The silver is become dross, thy wine mixed with water, thy princes are rebellious and companions of thieves. Every one loveth gifts and followeth after rewards. They judge not the fatherless, neither doth the cause of the widow come unto them. Therefore saith the sovereign Yahweh of hosts, the mighty ones of Israel, I will ease me of mine adversaries, and avenge me of mine enemies. And I will turn my hand upon thee, and purely purge away thy dross, and take away all thy sin. And I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning, Afterward, thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment, and her coverts with righteousness. And the destruction of the transgressors and of the sinners shall be together, and they shall forsake Yahweh, shall be consumed. And they that forsake Yahweh shall be consumed. For they shall be ashamed of the oaks which ye have desired, and ye shall be confounded for the gardens that ye have chosen. For ye shall be as an oak whose leaf fadeth, and as a garden that hath no water. And the strong shall be as tow, and the marker of it as a spark, and they both shall burn together, and none shall quench them.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and grab a couple more. We're gonna go to Yohanan. We're gonna go to John, chapter 21. John chapter 21, and we're gonna start at verse 10. That's Yohanan chapter 21. And we're going to start at verse 10.
John 21, verse 10. Yeshua saith unto them, Bring of the fish which ye have now caught. Simon Peter went up and drew the net to the land full of great fishes, and 153, and of all there were so many, ye was not the net broken.
Yet was the net. Yet was
not the net broken.
Mm-hmm.
Yeshua saith unto them, Come and dine. And none of the disciples durst ask him, Who art thou? Knowing that it was the Master. Yeshua then cometh and taketh bread, and giveth them, and the fish likewise. This is now the third time that Yeshua showed himself to his disciples, that he was risen from the dead. Now when they had dined, Yeshua said unto Simon Peter, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these? He said unto him, Yea, Master, thou knowest that I love thee. And he said unto him, Feed my lambs. And he said to him again the second time, Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Yea, Master, thou knowest that I love thee. He said unto him, Feed my sheep. And he said unto him the third time, Simon, son of Jonas, loveth thee me? Peter was grieved, because he said unto him the third time, Lovest thou me? And he said unto him, Master, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee. Yeshua said unto him, Feed my sheep.
You know, we've read where to love Yahweh is to keep the commandments. Even certain laws that were magnified for not the very act, even committing adultery. It was no more just the very act to be caught in, but for you to even look up on a woman, and that right there even committed adultery in your heart. So the law was magnified, but you have people yet still talking about the law has been nailed to the cross. The law has been magnified. But then you think about it. Love is not just keeping the commandments anymore. Yeshua was asking Peter to feed my sheep. He said, feed my sheep. Do you love me? Feed my sheep. 3 times he asked him, do you love me? So it's not just you receiving the word and you knowing the commandments and you keeping the commandments. A profitable servant it doesn't just keep the commandments. He's telling Peter to feed my sheep. There's people out there that needs this word. We've received it. Go ahead, my brother.
I was just gonna say, so what we see here is him giving him a service, giving him a job to do.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to be children, but children have to work. Children have to work. So as far as you see right here, Yeshua asking Peter these 3 times. Yeah, it grieved him, but understand something, is making him understand how important it is for him to do what he's supposed to do. If you love in Yeshua, he said you ought to feed his sheep. Go ahead, brother.
John 21:18. Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself, and walkest where you wanted. But when thou was old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee, and carry thee whither thou wouldst not. This spake he, signifying by what death he should have glorified Yahweh. And when he had spoken this, he said unto him, Follow me.
And we know that Yeshua, he kept the commandments. He kept the holy days. Yet still, he was out there constantly dealing with people, talking to people, rebuking, letting them know that letting them know of their conduct, of what they were doing was evil. I mean, there's ways to deal with, with the word when you come across someone. I mean, of course, you're gonna try the Spirit by the Spirit. Say something and then see where it goes. I mean, if a person is gonna be hooked onto what you're saying by their actions. It says actions. Actions speak louder than words. But yet still, people can say anything, but yet, what they're gonna do about it. All right, we're gonna go to Matthew's chapter 10, and we're gonna read verse 32 through 42. Matthew's chapter 10, and we're gonna start at verse 32.
Whosoever therefore shall confess me before men, him I will confess also before my Father which is in heaven. But whosoever shall deny me before men, him I will also deny before my Father which is in heaven.
It's crazy to me that the amount of people out there knows that the complexion of Yeshua is not Caucasian, but yet still they're continuously going to these places here who are not accepting who it clearly states that's written in the scriptures. They're denying Yeshua in so many ways. For one, they're not walking in his ways. But yet still you have somebody who we're not supposed to have an image anyway. But if you're gonna have an image, accept what's written. And that's the thing that we need to understand, accepting what's written. And so many people are not accepting what's written. And you have those that are blinded, being led by the blind. So they don't have anyone to show them the truth. Go ahead, my brother.
Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I come not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man of variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foe shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his burden and followeth me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for mine sake shall find it. He that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. He that receiveth a prophet in the name of a prophet shall receive a prophet's reward, and he that receiveth a righteous man in the name of a righteous man shall receive a righteous man's reward. And whosoever shall give to drink unto one of these little ones a cup of cold water only in the name of a disciple, verily I say unto you, he shall in no wise lose his reward.
No, I mean, we understand that we're supposed to honor our father and our mother. But at the end of the day, we just saw what Yahshua is saying. He that loveth father and mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. At the end of the day, we have family members, we have friends who are not going to hear this truth when we talk to them. But yet still, we're not going to, I mean, I know I wouldn't allow my mother or my father to take me away from what I know now. It's my mother, yeah, it's my father, but at the end of the day, they can't save me. They can't give me salvation. They can't allow me to go into this new kingdom that I'm sure pretty of us, like all of us, would love to be in. So why would I put them before Yahweh? Why would I put them before Yahshua? But yet still, yeah, I'm gonna honor them. They need something done. If I could do it, yeah, as well, I'm gonna do it. But if it's something that deals with me not doing what I need to do for Yahweh, I'm sorry, I'd rather them be upset than Yahweh be upset with me. All right, we're gonna go ahead and go down to Zechariah chapter 8, verse 1 to 23. We're gonna go to Zechariah chapter 8, verse 1 to 23. And we got one more after this and we'll be finished.
Zechariah 8, verse 1. Again the word of Yahweh of hosts, came to me, saying, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus saith Yahweh, I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of Yahweh of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man and his staff in his hand for every age.
And as we continue to read that these are things that we are actually, should be looking forward to. Doing the things that we are supposed to do as servants, being profitable servants, Yah's will. These are the things that we're going to, as we read further, things that we should be looking forward to, being able to take part in. Go ahead, my brother.
And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the street thereof. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of his people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, saith Yahweh of hosts? Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country. And I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim in truth and in righteousness.
I haven't seen nothing about heaven.
Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, let your hands be strong, ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets which were in the day that the foundation of the house of Yahweh of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. For before these days there was no hire for man, nor any hire for beasts, neither were there any peace to him that went out or came in because of the affliction. For I set all men, every one against his neighbor. But now I will not be unto the residue of these people, as in the former days, saith Yahweh of hosts. For the seed shall be prosperous, the vine shall give her fruit, and the ground shall give her increase, and the heavens shall give their due. And I will cause the remnant of these people to possess all these things. And it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathens, O house of Judah and the house of Israel, so will I save you, and ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let her hands be strong.
Let your hands.
Fear not, but let your hands be strong. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, as I thought to punish you, then your fathers provoked me to wrath, saith Yahweh of hosts, and I repented not. So again have I thought in these days to do well unto Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. Fear ye not. These are the things that ye shall do. Speak ye every man the truth to his neighbor, execute the judgment of truth, and peace in your gates.
And that's what we support. That's part of being a profitable servant. We are learning the truth. We're supposed to be speaking the truth to one another, upholding one another. Even though there's certain things that we may go through, we need to bring each other back to understand that things are going to change for the better. It's going to get worse, but then when things get worse, be strong. Because there are some terrible times that are coming. But yet still, we have to be strong. Go ahead.
Verse 17, and let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor, and love no false oath, for all these are things that I hate, saith Yahweh. And the word of Yahweh of hosts came unto me, saying, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the fast of the 4th month, and the fast of the 5th, and the fast of the 7th, and the fast of the 10th shall be to the house of Yehudah joy and gladness, and cheerful feasts. Therefore love the truth and peace. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people and the inhabitants of many cities, and the inhabitants of one city shall go to another, saying, let us go speedily to pray before Yahweh, and to seek Yahweh of hosts. I will go also. Yeah, many people and strong nations shall come to seek Yahweh of hosts in Jerusalem.
Not in heaven.
And to pray before Yahweh. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, in these days it shall come to pass that 10 men shall take hold out of all languages of nations, even shall take hold of the skirts of him that is a Jew, a Yehudi, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that Elohim is with you.
Okay, we have one more book to read. It's just Revelations chapter 3 and 2 verses. We're going to read verse 20 through 22. Revelations chapter 3. And like I said before, these are things that we should be looking forward to, having an understanding that we have work to do. Revelations chapter 3, and we're going to read verse 20 through 22.
Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man heareth my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and I will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcometh, I will grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne.
Again, the reason why I wanted to touch on this is because this is something that we should have in our hearts, in our mind, to look forward for. Imagine our brother, our high priest, who shall be King of kings, died. And to be able to witness righteousness through the whole earth, these are things, like I said before, for us to be able to that we should be working towards. I know there's other things that we have to do as far as working, natural jobs, and we need money and certain things like that, but there's other things that we're supposed to do too. And this is something here that we should be working towards, to be able to see. Verse 21. Can you read verse 21 for me again, then, brother?
To him that overcometh will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I also overcame, and am set down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith to the assemblies, to the churches.
All right, well, that's all we're gonna do for tonight. And I just want everybody to understand that to be a profitable servant, it's not just us having an understanding of, what's written, but we have to understand why we do these things, who we are serving, and the reason why we're doing these things, and what to look forward to. There's a better life that's coming. These things that we see that's going on now in this earth is gonna go away, because it's filled with unrighteousness, and it has to change. But for us to be able to see these things, we have to be profitable servants. All right, shalom.
Shalom.